IVM.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen yaar, don't be so conservative. Okay, cock and bull time, and time to talk about an act of racism, an anti-national act which has hurt me. I haven't slept all night. I cannot believe this is happening. You see, and I'm going to complain here, and I want the government to take action. All upmarket Indians are talking about the US elections, not one about the Bihar elections. If that is not an act of anti-nationalism and racism, I don't know what is. So I condemn it completely. Please, no more talk about US. We are Indians, talk about Bihar. Phase 2 is going on as we record this. It's very important. Can you name at least 2 political parties? We'll find out soon. It's called Cock and Bull.
पेश खिदमत है आपकी शान में हमारे अंजुमन से. Hi, I am Sadaf.
And I'm Arshit. खाने का इतिहास, इकोनॉमिक्स, पॉलिसी, साइकोलॉजी सब है मेन्यू पे.
Only on the Nankari podcast every Wednesday. सिर्फ IVM podcast ऐप या वेबसाइट पर या फिर जहां से भी आप अपने पॉडकास्ट सुनते हो.
And as my thing crashed and fell down, okay, I'll rephrase that, not my thing, my iPod, or iPad rather. Let me apologize. It's a long story, but to cut a long story short, the laptop malfunctioned, after which my mother's laptop is as old as her, with due respect. And then I had to come back to the iPad situation thanks to my daughter, who's the engineer of the family. These things we have to live with in this world of pandemic. Okay, everyone cannot be like Aakash, who's joined us after a long time, and who's so savvy that he's like James Bond, Gujarati version. All around there are gadgets and things. We should mention that Connery mari gayu.
Yeah.
That's a very bad thing for me to say. Please stop me and slap me immediately.
No, it's okay to say he passed away. Yaar. Don't worry.
He died. Finally, the villain one, Goldfinger one. But you know, can I say something bad? Because it's always good to talk bad things about people who die immediately. Apparently, he was really bad on the set, yaar. Like, he was very obnoxious and sometimes arrogant. And as he got older, he would, really take people on. And initially, it was more like funny, and then it became just worse and worse. So
maybe they just couldn't understand what he was saying and misconstrued it.
That's why they cast him. Because, you don't have to write a script then. You just, nobody can tell what's happening. There's 25% taken care of.
There were stories, weren't there, about the third Indiana Jones movie which he was in. That basically him and Harrison Ford are two notoriously difficult to work with actors. And it was supposedly like some big thing at that time. I can't remember what exactly. I do remember there's stuff in the magazine.
For a guy who got his job while doing carpentry at this guy's house, somebody's house, George, this Harrison is quite the troubles. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, tu table kaat raha tha aur tere ko naukri mil gaya. Be a little grateful.
Who are we talking about? Harrison Ford or Sean Connery?
Harrison Ford.
So he was a carpenter.
Yeah, at Steven Spielberg's house, I believe. And then Steven
Spielberg. I don't think that's true. Huh? He was an actor who was carpentering on the side. That was a side gig. Or rather, you know, I mean, like, it wasn't really that he got discovered as a carpenter.
Amit, don't knock carpentry. One guy started the world's biggest religion. Stop that. Please respect it.
I mean, like, he's been movies before that. Right? It wasn't like Star Wars was his first thing. It's this big thing. But I mean, like, he was in Apocalypse Now before that for sure. And I think he was in other stuff too.
Okay. So I just assumed, I also was wondering if he was doing carpentry on the side when he got the job. And I wonder this about the person Cyrus mentioned also. What happened to all those teapoys that were half finished? You know what I mean?
Okay, the person I mentioned will stay out of it. Aakash, please. Because I don't have any security blanket here.
I meant
let's stick to Harrison, please.
Harrison Ford only. कि तू पिक्चर बना रहा है तो शर्मा जी के टीपॉय का क्या हुआ? Like, वो तो खत्म नहीं किया ना तूने?
This is a very valid point because see, until they make it, many Americans especially have that, what Amit mentioned, the dual profession. Let's face it, that you take it seriously, bills have to be paid. Yeah. So he must have been involved as the Star Wars franchise took off. He must have been involved in some hard work to pay his bills while hoping for, good to come to him. So you're right. Yeah. I think there's some incomplete work in America. Yeah. And it may not just be in the White House, which of course will within 24 hours, maybe 36 hours, we should have a mandate. Which is a good segue, no? From the boring
we have absolutely no idea when we're going to know about this.
What do you think it's going to be is it a super over? the American super over?
It's not super over. No, the problem is, it's going to be amazing drama and amazing fun, right?
He's already said he'll go to court.
He said,
so
he's already decided. He's decided he's going to court because he's not. The thing is, he has to go to court, right? He has to go to court because for him to win, there are a few states which are, based on how the electoral college and stuff goes, there are a few states he has to get. He has to get Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Now, the what's really interesting is the difference between Pennsylvania and Florida, right? Two states which are very key. There has been a lot of mail-in ballots that have happened. People have voted by mail right now.
Over a million people this
over
year.
99 million people.
Oh, 99 million people.
Yeah, so it is.
And voter turnout is at an all-time high as well, right?
So that we'll find out tomorrow. We don't know that yet.
But that's also because of the pandemic. So, you can do it from the home and this and that before you actually stepping out. Sorry, Amit, finish the point and explain electoral college in 2 seconds if you can also.
So electoral college basically means that every state, the number of House of Representatives, the number of congressmen and the number of senators they have. You add that number up and each state has that much representation in the electoral college. So a state like Delaware with 1 congressman and 2 senators has 3 votes in the electoral college.
It doesn't count.
Side, very small. A state like California has, I think, something like 54 votes in the electoral college, right? So 52 congressmen and 2.
So nobody ever goes to Delaware. No participant goes to Delaware and says, I'm here to help the state of Delaware.
Joe Biden, dude, he is from Delaware.
But that's just the irony of the whole thing.
चलो उसको 2 वोट तो मिल गया उसका.
Isn't the problem with the electoral college that whoever wins that state wins all?
So your other score is wiped out.
You see, it's been deliberately designed in the way it's been designed. Now, is it something that holds true for the modern times? Maybe not. But actually, they wanted it. This is a deliberate design, right?
Yeah.
They didn't want it to be so that the cities control the entire country. Because if you go purely by popular vote, the big cities will control the entire country.
Yeah.
And they wanted to make sure that different parts of the countries were represented in weighted ways, so that was the original intent.
But the scheming visas that they also allowed electoral colleges to not vote based on what everybody else was asking them to vote for.
Well,
so a representative can go against the color of the state also and be like, blue nahi, main red vote karega. That they have that power.
It's very circumspect and it's in very few circumstances, right? I mean, is it possible? Yeah, it's possible, but it happens more in primaries where the electors rather than in something like this where, they will flip. But what I was saying about Florida and Pennsylvania, right, which is interesting. So both of them are very close states and both of them are extremely critical states. The people who, if somebody wins both of them, they won the election essentially at this point in time, right? Now, what's interesting is Pennsylvania has a law that you cannot count absentee ballots until the day of the election. Okay, in Florida, they're going to count absentee ballots before the day of the election.
What's absentee ballots again? This is a confusing bloody
system.
Mail-in ballots.
Oh, non-physical. Mail-in, okay.
The one that I sent, right, by email. That one, the mail-in ballot.
So yours is not counted yet and you went in June. It's amazing.
No, I didn't go in June. I just voted like 2 weeks ago.
Okay, fair enough.
But I'm in neither Pennsylvania or Florida. I'm also from
Jersey.
Delaware. Delaware.
So you're another inconsequential vote. Damn you.
I am another inconsequential
wasted
vote.
Here, wasted there.
But what's going to be interesting is that it will, because of the way this is set up, Florida is going to show extremely Democratic in the tomorrow over the course of the day. And Pennsylvania is going to show extremely Republican over the course of the day. And Donald Trump plans to use Pennsylvania's Republican showing and say that we should not count any of the other votes. Right, because I won. It's over. I won. Right? Why we can't? What are we doing?
But in actuality, it's like a Mexican standoff. One big state each.
Well, I mean, it's not a Mexican standoff here. I mean, there are
I just
other
want to
states
throw
that
that
matter.
word in because of all the irony that comes with it.
I get that.
Yeah. Why in this country like America, which is very technologically savvy, whatever happened to voting machines? Why can't they have voting machines yet?
So there is a lot of distrust over EVMs. It was a big issue
Except in India.
10, 12 years ago, 15 years ago.
Except in India where it works apparently really well.
It actually does work very well in India, right? The EVMs actually do work very well in India. The reason why, there are
Cyrus's
issues.
sarcasm is being thrown aside by Amit.
No, my worry is that he's now being sent in by the center.
No,
everything is going towards one direction.
They actually do work really well because the thing with Indian EVMs is that that they're so dumb that it's almost impossible to imply any language to them.
Exactly.
There's nothing in it. It's like, it's a circuit and that's it. So because of that, it is relatively safe from a technical perspective.
I feel the buttons were kept too close to each other, so the chances of you hitting the wrong symbol is also there if you're a bit old, or like me, if you've got a bit of Alzheimer's or Parkinson's and, you shake.
So that is
No, I'm just saying, these are small things, but when you look at them over a period of a large election with large populace, you got to be very careful with these little things like my dad, my mom, that kind of age group. It's not that easy as you think, and then they get a little nervous when they're doing it, and the finger is going in a little bit of the wrong direction.
Yeah, but
that sounds so cute.
But is that so?
Can you imagine everybody voted wrong? Sorry, sir. Go on.
But is that so different from paper ballot mess-ups?
No, paper ballot. How do you mess up, Baba?
Hanging chads, 2000, dude.
I don't know, mate. I prefer the paper ballot.
That was the thing, right? The elections hung on hanging chads, right?
We should just have voice messaging. I think that would really take it up a notch. It's so easy for everyone to say,
dude, but then you would have people saying Modi for municipal election also, which will not make sense.
With one man only they won, huh?
Didn't we just pass a big bill in Parliament through voice vote? I can't remember which one it was, but there was a big bill recently passed in Indian Parliament through voice vote.
It
was the farming bill. It was the farming bill.
Because Rajya Sabha, there's no Wi-Fi, so it had to be Lok Sabha. It was not fully passed.
They're also saying that Trump's campaign is under the assumption that they will see more in-person voting. Their side will see
final
more
overs
in-person
will be
voting.
everything is what they're saying, that November 3rd will make or break it. But that also sounds a little, what do you think, Amit, Aakash? Sounds a little desperate when you're possibly facing defeat? That the bravado and you say things like, last punch over mein khichega and all that. I find that little...
He's basically muddying the water so he can shit the bed.
Because... Again, the assumption is that if by chance Biden seems to be winning by a landslide on the day of the election, Trump will be like, no, now count the mail-in ballots. He'll change his own tune. Is what they're saying.
No, but he will not. He doesn't want those votes. Of the 99 million, probably 65 million are Democratic votes. He doesn't want them counted.
Yeah, because mail-in ballot votes tend to lean blue, is from what I understand.
So how do you come to that? See, this is what I like about this so-called psephology science. How the hell do you come to a conclusion? Because you're mailing from different, like Amit is mailing from India. I mean, you're mailing also from your home close by. So, and they're all your health problems.
The reason is the health problems is the reason why we know that happens.
Yes,
there's another reason.
How do you go blue or red for sure? How are they getting this information?
Normally, that's not the case, right? Normally, the case is that mail-in ballots lean red. They don't lean blue. But this year, they're leaning blue, heavily blue, because...
But can you give me the correlation between... sending it from far and why you go towards Republican?
I'll tell you why. Because the people who are voting mail-in are voting early are the people who are worried about going and standing in line for 8 hours because of COVID.
Which is to give Democrats, not Republicans.
So COVID-weary people hate the incumbent. Is what we're coming to.
COVID-weary people are people who believe in wearing masks and believe in social distancing and stuff like that, right? A lot of the Republican side of the equation are not so fair. Are not so
this particular election, I'll allow it, but I can't believe.
Generally, that's not the case. Generally, it's not the case at all, because generally, what happens is that a lot of your absentee ballots are done by retirees and people like that, right? So generally, it's not at all the case that they lean blue.
नहीं ये तो मैं रेडियो लैब का एपिसोड सुना, उसमें वो लोग बता रहे थे.
That's your point.
No, so I mean, my logic is their logic was also the fact that most Democrats are not homeowners, so because they're not homeowners, they have a slightly harder time to get their their voter ID in the state where they are, so they end up sending a mail-in or something like that.
So basically you're finding a reason for not being happy with the present situation in your life. Hence, the government is to blame. Hence, if you add 2 and 2, come to 4, the reason is that incumbent is the problem. So we'll go with the opposite. So you're saying everyone who votes from outside has an issue.
अभी मेरा लॉजिक क्या है कि इसको है अभी और 2 दिन और बाइडेन जीते ना जीते हम लोग को पता है ट्रम्प कांड करेगा बराबर. तो बिहार इलेक्शन के बारे में आई थिंक इज अ लिटिल मोर रेलेवेंट टू टॉक लाइक एज
I love Bihar elections because this style of our present government center I'm talking about is to make everything into different phases. So it's almost like it's like playing a 5-test match series. So you can come back. It's giving a good chance for everyone to have like a real match of it. But some of the other, I just feel it just becomes too long for you to discuss it after some time. Phase 1, then phase 2. And by phase 3, you're like, okay, forget it. Okay, whoever makes it, makes it.
That's the idea.
Although it looks like nothing will change from the outside. Mr. Amit Doshi, our psephologist on call. What's happening in Bihar?
Elections. Dude, I mean,
look at you, racist. You see, you're the epitome of these Indians who don't give a damn. Sitting here in your Malwa.
He's not Indian. He's not Indian. He just voted for the American elections.
That's true. But he looks Indian.
Also true.
Looks
but I
big
mean,
cheese. He looks Indian.
It's not that I don't pay attention. I pay attention to a degree, right? I mean, like I have some idea of
It's
what's going
racism.
on. Okay.
We're all
right,
guilty of it. Let's ask Silverie. Silverie, name 4 parties in Bihar at the moment taking part in the elections.
India, Pakistan.
यार तीन का तो बता, तीन तो तेरे को पता होना चाहिए, तीन तो बेसिक है, तीन मेरे को भी 4 ही आता है.
कांग्रेस, बीजेपी.
Okay, stop it.
That's
नहीं यार,
RJD is not looking good.
I have no idea.
Akash, but it's true, no? What do you say?
What?
Urban Indians are more interested in the fascination of American politics. Nobody cares about this. Back in the cowbelt, we have some really big issues, but leave it. Not important.
And you know,
I don't think it's
it's why you follow the EPL. It's why you follow the NBA.
No, I don't.
It's all that. There's something wrong with urban Indians. We don't have a sense of, we do all this chest beating, but we don't really have a sense of identification with a lot of Indian ethos. We're straight away abroad. Sports, politics, culture, art.
I don't know if I agree with that 100%, right? I think that there is...
Well, then you're a Republican.
Huh?
No, nothing. Go on.
So I think one is access of information, right? I think that matters here. When it comes to American elections versus Bihar elections, if you want to read something interesting and something cogent, where are you more likely to find a couple of interesting articles to read, or where are you more likely to find good writing to read, right? I think that becomes one part of it, right?
नहीं, वो तो आपके bubble के ऊपर depend करता है ना. If your
I mean, that's also a little
not...
racist, because there's plenty of good writing on Indian politics also. That's not
fair.
But a lot of it is in Hindi.
Segregation here. Segregation.
I don't know about that. I mean, like, I read a lot. I read a lot of Indian newspapers. I read a lot of other newspapers.
As someone participating in a Hindi picture, I have now become full Desi. I'm all for Desi products and Desi this and that. Yeah.
I'm not saying there is no good writing in India. Of course, I'm not saying that. I obviously know there are a lot of really good writers who write a lot of really good things. But the thing is that I find that there is more information and analysis that is somewhat reliable is not the right word either, right? But is somewhat more, I don't know what it is, but I
don't know. Let me go to Aakash. He likes to call a spade a spade. Aakash, don't you think that we are more fascinated with other cultures?
Oh, without a doubt. And not so much with other cultures. It's just not things that are from here. It's not that the other thing is better. It's either ka thing is not good enough. That's the logic, I feel. And I see this with audiences.
Especially Mumbai.
I see this with audiences all the time. Like, this is not just, it's easy to laugh at an Indian thing because it's like, it's obviously inferior. You know what I mean? Like, that's their logic. No, but that's
racist.
That's not my opinion.
Right now.
That's not my opinion. That's what the audience seems to always tend towards. They think it's obviously inferior. Indian cheese, obviously.
Okay, we'll reverse that. As a writer, you'll be happy to write about the dynamics of the American elections a little bit. Perhaps it'll excite you a little bit more than writing on the Bihar elections, even though there's good comedy following the Bihar elections.
The reasons are different. Because if I talk about Bihar elections, I will say things that then people will get mad and they can hurt me. If I talk about US elections... They will not hurt me, A, because they're too far, and B, because in that country you can actually say whatever the hell you want.
I think that's actually, that's a really good point, right? I mean, it speaks a lot. It actually is probably the point I should have been raising when I was talking about my thing, right? It's that...
we can redo the podcast, Amit.
Go
back.
Amit, you were saying. When I was talking about the analysis piece, when I was talking about the informational piece and stuff like that, now a lot of it has to do with that, right? Over here, everything is like, you're the way that we're talking about stuff, we're like, we're like tiptoeing around issues and stuff like that. Things are not spoken of openly. It just is a little, it's not as
but you can watch Ravish Kumar. Nobody's stopping you. That is.
Just don't talk about him in public, because then you'll be called up.
Yeah.
But be careful of it. You can watch everything. You can read satanic verses still, but you don't get to talk about it.
I was thinking of this the other day. Ravish Kumar vanished for a few days in the middle. Mm-hmm. There was no prime time with Ravish Kumar. And it just sunk into me, this fear. This is the guy who talks about people who go missing that nobody else talks about.
My God, right? You're right.
So if he goes missing, who will talk about him? Like,
it's never like a tribute. It's an irony and a tribute. Finally, usko hua, jo usne kiya. This sort of thing. I think it's fabulous. Yeah. As long as we find comedy in all tragedies, we'll be fine. Shall we talk about what next? Do we have topics?
Yeah, we do. There was a thing about this I found out about after I sent you guys the topics that we'll be discussing. There was a Biden-Harris bus that was traveling around Texas. and Donald Trump Jr. tweeted out saying, there's a Biden-Harris bus roaming around Texas. Why don't you guys go and show them that Texas is still red? So what the Trump supporters did is they massive envoys, escort. A lot of cars basically surrounded, a lot of Trump supporter cars surrounded the bus, in a way to intimidate them, in a very aggressive way, and started just following them, surrounding them and following them down the freeway all across Texas. So this was very crazy.
यहाँ गांव बंद पड़ जाते हैं यार.
Exactly.
यहाँ पूरे गांव बंद कर देते हैं. इसमें मतलब I just feel कि ये इतना नहीं है.
No, they're learning in the subcontinental ways. It's a step in the right direction. Next will be proper violence. But this was something, intimidation and passive violence, you want to call it. It's a good sign that they're going towards us, which means we've always been the apex. You have to look at us as the top of the tree and you have to come towards our style. I also have another theory that at the end, if Indians were running the American, if we were Americans were Indians, it would be very simple. We'd have a compromise policy at the end, and whoever loses would become the vice president. There'd be some sort of, we have that way.
That used to be the way in the first few American elections.
I think so, yeah.
There you go.
I remember seeing that on Hamilton. Aaron Burr became...
George Washington ne badla tha wo.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that it was but he was also in the West Wing, no? I mean, when in the last season, when the Republican candidate lost to the Jimmy Smith's the Jimmy Smith character offered him the Secretary of State role. So
see, Jimmy Smith is Hispanic, closer to Indian. You can see the trail here. I want to keep this all about race and racism, and racial stereotyping, because that's the flavor of the month for me. We should just make fun of everybody now and just accept that we are dirty, prejudiced racists and enjoy it. Yeah.
I think we are. I think you've clearly called me one numerous times already.
I know. And you're not the worst. Believe me. There are many above you. Yeah. Miles to go before you kill.
But honestly, एक चीज है बिहार इलेक्शन का जो मुझे बहुत सही लगता है कि if you watch any news item with Bihar election, it's like Biharis talking about Bihari politics, dude. And it's just the swag that comes with being a Bihari dude that comes across on the video, it's just so great. Ka karke denge? It's just, it's just, yeah, bata.
And have you noticed it's always like they're in the middle of their monologue. The question is asked, it's a simple question, aapke kya rai hai or something, simple question, and it's already the middle of the monologue. Kintu parantu, it's already somewhere in the middle.
It's so great, dude. Just all this Bihari swag on display. There is this one I was watching, I think Times Now ka clip, and they were talking about Kashmir. Okay, they are talking about what Mehbooba Mufti said or something. Okay, and they are saying कि बिहार वालों को क्या कर रहे बिहार वाले लोग, and the guy from Bihar is like, यार तुम लोग उनके साथ गवर्नमेंट बना दिया था, तभी तो प्रॉब्लम नहीं था उनके साथ कोई. She's like नहीं, and then he says कि ये तो बिहार इलेक्शन है. तो she says, हाँ तो बिहार में क्या किसी को 370 के बारे में नहीं पड़ी है? I'm like, पर ये तो बिहार इलेक्शन चल रहा है ना. पर हाँ तो क्या हुआ, कश्मीर के बारे में बिहारियों को फर्क नहीं पड़ता? He's like, अरे पर इलेक्शन तो अभी बिहार. And then they just muted him, dude.
But now this is a point about how great our telejournalists are. I mean, that's another. I mean, and they never listen to what the person is saying.
Nothing.
He's actually made a very good point, the guy you just mentioned, and she has no interest in that. Just wants to get on with her stupid idea. That coming back, just segueing to bad journalism, let's call it ridiculous journalism. There are a lot of journalists who have this style, we've discussed this, where they only want to go back to their question. And conversation is always more organic when you're having a dialogue. It's like us. When we just try to go back to a script, we'll go in circles. But they always do that. It's with Indian journalists. And I would like to address all Indian journalists, barring Arnav the Great, who's on another level, that please, can you stop going back to the question, but go with the conversation, because we all get confused. When the guy's answered something, he doesn't go to the natural point from there, like a tennis match.
Well, that's a standard debating tactic, right? I mean, you never answer the question that's asked to you. You answer the question you want to. You have to figure. The greatest debater is the one who can figure out the way to segue to the answer that they want to from the question asked.
Yeah, but that's different from the questioner who decides that he's disregarded your answer and gone to question 3. So there's no, connect.
It is not.
That's the problem. And then as a viewer, I'm saying, what the hell? But that was an interesting answer. Now, why aren't you taking it further? Like exactly what Aakash's example is. Where he said about them being allies first and now they're after her. The journalist should have picked it up from there. They didn't pick it up from there. They went and turned it around completely about you're not interested in Kashmir, which is not true.
But it's the idea is not to actually interview the person, right? The idea is just to get your point across and you know what I mean? Like the news used to have an agenda. I'm going to inform you. Now the news has an agenda of I'm going to give you an opinion. Like, so that is the change also.
And also, it's not just that also, right? Think about it. If you're on an Arnab show or something like that, right? I mean, like when you get the chance to speak, you want to make your point. You don't want to answer the question he's asking. You are there for a particular reason. You've come onto the show for a particular reason.
This is real comedy. A disconnected answer and a disconnected question. And everybody's really keen. So what is your dog's name? My father was born in Pakistan, Rawalpindi, 1957. It's just beautiful for me. I love those conversations.
But the thing is, what you need is first you need that connector sentence, no? My dog was such an amazing thing. I love my father brought him for me. You know, my father was a great man. He was born in Pakistan. You have to do
that's
that
the most sophisticated one. That's the most sophisticated one.
You have to do the connection.
Yeah, fair enough. I stand corrected. Yeah. How do we get into TV journalism? We were talking about something else.
Because we seem to love talking about it more than anything else.
But at least this is organic conversations. This is what I'm trying to promote all the time. Instead of sticking to some stupid point. Yes, Silverie, what is the next stupid point?
But before that, let's go into a break.
Whether you're an established sports person or a budding one, or simply a sports enthusiast, join us, Tanvi and Shlok.
We are two passionate pro badminton players talking policy, mindset and everything sport.
So tune in to The Millennial Athlete every Monday.
Only on the IVM Podcast Network.
Trust us, it's gonna be lit.
Then Obama has come out for rallies for.
Oh no, he was in Detroit with
rallying
Stevie
for Biden
Wonder, and apparently Stevie Wonder fell off the stage. Okay, I take that back. I take that back. That's not nice. I apologize. Aakash, don't send me later.
Have you guys seen any of these Obama speeches? Any like in the last 2 weeks or so?
I've seen
because his style has changed a bit.
US election का बात चल रहा है?
बिहार का हुआ ना 2 minute.
Yeah.
Then we went to Kashmir also. We covered 2 states. हो गया.
Yeah, but it's just so much to talk about in this.
No,
I didn't get a chance.
But Silverie's point is that he's more aggro, right?
He's like more aggressive is fine, but also his the way he ends his sentences is more like he sounds like a preacher now. Because like he's like, if he has to say the word like this is absolutely not cool, he'll say like this is absolutely not cool. Like he'll do
he'll cut it off.
Cut
it off like a young Adolf
at the end. Yeah.
ये तो मोदी जी से सीखा है लड़का अपना.
And we will get him. You have to go for that note. It's like a high C in opera.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You know, Hitler also used to do great pauses.
So yeah, that's.
Great causes. Great causes or pauses? Make up your mind.
Pauses.
Great causes, and we got the comedy for the show. Yeah, but done.
Great pauses. If you see his speech, I don't understand German, but like great pauses, man. Like
you
I
don't
appreciate
understand
the pause.
You don't understand the hand movement is enough for you to understand everything. What do you have to understand? But I think we need some more orators. Maybe not like Hitler, but we need a few more interesting, little more banter. The 80s and 70s had a lot of good banter in Parliament, which is now down to just abusing and shouting and trying to drown the guy.
Or
whoever's
muting.
talking, just keep shouting so he can't be heard. So it's changed from where there was actual, little sledging banter, which could be appreciated.
Yeah, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, remember in the Parliament?
Fabulous.
What a great person to listen to in Parliament.
He never lost his shape, what we say in cricket. He never lost his shape. So he would talk back, but he would stay in that decorum sort of passage, which is for intelligent people watching a show is fun. But now it's down to whatever it's down to.
Now you can mute it, no. I mean, they only mute it. So
it's
now
the nobification of India. He's taken over the whole country, including Parliament. Everybody wants to behave like they're on the panel. Everyone screams and shouts. I'm sure they're not paying attention. The moment the BJP guy is talking, the entire opposition is just screaming.
I think it comes from the Fox News style of journalism, right? Like that's where it really originated from.
It comes from marriage. After some time, your spouse is talking, you just keep screaming because that's the reaction. These two won't understand. Aakash could have, but chose not to. He leaves his spouse somewhere deep in the interiors of Gujarat. He's got 3 villages. Everything is taken care of. Umargaon ek Bairich hai, ani Saurashtra ma ek, and on the Rajasthan border just for safety. Silverie, don't listen to these guys. They make fun of marriage and all, but it's quite dangerous. Be careful.
Cool. Got it. Thanks, man. Yeah.
The last time I was on this show, Silverie was at a friend's house.
Yeah.
But that is lovely. That's not marriage, no?
That friend has left India forever now, and she's in Jakarta.
After 3 weeks of love with Silverie, she ran away
weeks
to
with
Jakarta.
me, man. That's what happened.
Oh shit!
Exactly. That's
you had like a summer fling, like basically, right? Like
when the book is written,
we're still dating.
The pandemic love stories are written. His will lead the rest, Because in all this, he left his family home and went and stayed with a lady from a foreign country. Spent some time there. So when most of us are looking at, romance as after economy. Your romantic life will come after the economy comes back. We look at the entire hierarchy of motives. reverse
Yeah,
Maslow.
the GDP is directly proportional to how successful my relationship is. Basically.
But are you
You
glad
think?
your parents don't care about your work enough to listen to all the things you
Dude, they
produce?
heard.
Oh,
they
shit.
heard. Yeah. And my
She
mom
used to come
figured
on,
out. Yeah.
So what did they say,
Exactly.
Silverie?
My mom just resigned to the fact, like, okay, fine, it's done now. She heard the episode where I mentioned it the day I came back home from my girlfriend's place.
Oh.
So I was already back home now. What are you gonna do?
I heard your dad was really happy you're straight and all that.
My dad doesn't listen to the show. Sorry.
And your dad doesn't listen to your mom also. So I
Yeah, he
think
doesn't
it's
listen to my mom
insulated
also.
within one
Correct.
member.
Yeah, it's perfect. Works out. Okay, anyway, let's move on to the next story. The movie Laxmmi Bomb, Akshay Kumar's new movie Laxmmi Bomb, has been seeing a lot of controversy just because of the name. They're saying,
it's a name.
Yeah, but they're saying so the
But
name
it
has
does
been
not
changed
imply
from
the
Laxmmi Bomb
goddess.
to Lakshmi.
It's a name.
Exactly. So, but I don't know why they do that all the time. They just keep wanting to change names of movies. Like Padmavat became Padmavati became Padmavat, and Billu Barbar I remember became Billu back in the day.
Why did
yeah.
Billu Barber change? Because you can't say
Dude,
barber.
they said they said that it's offensive to barbers.
Derogatory to
That's true.
the
That's a true fact.
Hajamistan community. If you're a Hajam, which apparently is also derogatory slightly. You have to say Babar. I don't know. What do you say? What's fair? Hairdresser?
Hairstylist.
Hairstylist. Yeah.
Hajam nahi bol sakte.
I don't know. See, because some of these cheap Hajams also have models like Shah Rukh Khan and Salman Khan and Hrithik Roshan and all behind. So obviously they get the haircut in these 25 rupee Hajam centers.
I think we should talk about the US election more.
Now I want to discuss hair care. Because I do think they are a forgotten
But
lot.
I think Hajam is in Gujarati is used somewhat not derogatorily.
That is the word. That is
But
the
you'll
word
never
for
say
barber.
Hajam.
But normally, but you also
you'll
use
never
it in
say
other
Hajam
contexts,
to
no?
the fancy hairdresser you go to. Explain that to me.
No,
okay,
it's
when
not
you say
just that.
cricketer,
No, you say ke Hajamat Karavi. I mean, like, sometimes that means that did you get Inetari Hajamat Karavi means that you got
different. I'm saying, do you call your fancy got your barber cut your hair? But it's not the same as giving a title, a label. Let's use the word label. Would you label the fancy hairdresser Hajam? You'll never do that. He won't like it. For some reason, it sounds like a derogatory word.
But that's like a class thing, right? Like that's
it's a class thing.
It's a class thing in India.
That's like saying
It's
Bawarchi
a bloody
instead of
class
cook.
thing.
Yeah,
It's of class.
Bawarchi. Gujarati में महाराज बुलाते हैं, पता है? You can't call them Bawarchi. If you call them
Maharaj
anything
but
but
you can't
Maharaj.
say Maharaj or Bawarchi to the fancy chef in ITC.
Yeah.
So why is that?
Yeah.
Come on, you are here to talk. Talk then.
No, this comes back to that original conversation of being fascinated by things from the outside and giving them little more value, right? Like a chef is a way to see. The thing is, the West has dignity of labor. Okay, which
True.
is the one thing that we don't have. So a chef is going to be treated the same as the hotel manager. That's the same kind of dignity is there. You know,
Aakash, when I go with some well-heeled friends and they know the thing, they call the guy chef in the 5-star, the fancy dining place. Why don't they call him Maharaj? It's absolutely, as you said, correct in Gujarati, in Marathi, everything. Bawarchi in the north. Why don't they use these words?
Because it's not English, and all of these high class places have this enclave of English around them, right? Like English में बात करते हैं इन जगहों पे.
Oh, so you're saying English raises the class and non-English brings the class down.
That is how people's perception is, right?
Racist!
No, I think it's language
I mean,
difference. No? There's a cultural connotation to what you're talking about,
Yeah.
right? Maharaj or
What a fucked
Bawarchi
up
is
country
somebody.
we are.
No, but Maharaj or Bawarchi, it means somebody who's cooking at your home or somebody who's cooking in a particular kind of communal organization, right? Whereas a chef is somebody who's cooking in a restaurant or somebody who's cooking there. You call somebody a chef, even if it is like, even the person who is working at like, a restaurant, which, so if it's somebody who's serving you 100 rupee sandwich, or if it is somebody where you're going for a 3,000 rupee meal, right? You still call the cook in that restaurant a chef. That's not the I think
now you've confused me because your 100 rupee sandwich is my 3,000 rupee meal in many ways.
Well, no, I mean, like, so you're not going to call like, a sandwich wala a chef, right? But if you go to even a small restaurant, a little cafe or something like that, the person who cooks for you is the chef.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You know who calls them the chef? The people who work at the restaurant, not the people who eat at the restaurant.
That's like being in the army and there's a hierarchy.
No,
I mean,
the audience, like at a restaurant, they are not calling that person the chef.
Well, I never
No,
call
they
anybody
do.
chef.
In the fancy restaurant, they do. If the chef comes in,
Yeah,
they say, hello, chef.
पर 100 रुपी सैंडविच वाले में वो उसको कुक बुलाएगा वो.
No, that's always Raju.
No, but
उसको तो
even
भैया
the
बुलाएंगे.
fancy chefs, I
Raju
call them.
sandwich. Spelled with a V.
If you know the guy, you call him by name. Why would you call him chef?
Yeah.
अरे यार, no, then how many people know the guy who's making the 100 rupee sandwich?
But then, no, I mean, like, even at the 3,000 rupee restaurant, right? If you know the person cooking, you'd call him by name. You wouldn't call him chef.
No,
All
within the
sandwich
kitchen you
walas-
follow hierarchy, man. You call them chef
I don't
only.
work in the kitchen. Why would I
Okay.
follow that chef?
Take the fight
hierarchy?
offline.
Huh.
Because the fact of the matter is that most sandwich walas call us the same thing. Chutia. It's always the same point.
No, but I mean, like, I think that what we're talking about, like chef versus bawarchi, right? It really does have to do with that, right? It has to do with, there are Indian words you can think of, right? Like, for example, you would, if you would call somebody with an Indian title with the
Godawala, you can't
translated-
call horseman. For
Well,
example, Godawala, you don't say horseman.
I'm thinking of something
horse.
a little, but I mean,
You can't get away with calling people Sanjeev Kapoor, Amit. It's not.
Yeah, especially if the
fair
women
enough.
don't have mustaches. Because that was his trademark. Yeah. All right. Let's keep this open. Maybe we'll get some emails about it.
Yeah.
Please explain to us the complexes of Indian society. Why do we put labels? Is there a caste or class system that we are following? And is the English word supposed to be the Brahminical word?
Achha,
And the rest is,
ek example
or as
do.
Amit says, there's a more, there's a sort of utility point to why the name is used here or there.
To give you one example, okay?
Hanji.
Everyone here is privileged enough to have house help, right? Does your
Ours
house,
is relatives only, but
when they are house help, when they're drinking glass mein se pani, do they use the same kaach ka glass that the rest of the family uses, or do they use a steel ka glass which they kept
do.
for themselves?
No, we have lots of glasses that are common. That's not a big issue with us. But you're right. In most houses, that wouldn't happen. The plates would be separate. All that, yeah.
In my
But
house,
we make them sit at our feet and eat, so that way we keep it. No, I'm just kidding.
I have been trying to convince the house help here to use the same plates and glasses.
But
and
they won't
bowls.
do it.
they won't do it.
They refuse.
Yeah, I have the same problem in my house, right? Only for the glasses, not for the plates. They use the same plates as we do, but for the glasses, he wants a steel glass. And I mean, like, he's happy to put his glass away in the side and like keep it for himself, but he wants a steel glass. He don't want to drink out of a glass.
Yeah.
I'm willing
Or
to be
just
very
any glass
democratic
that
as
the
long
rest
as
of us
they...
drink from.
Huh?
Sorry?
Or any glass that, like, earlier we got kaach ka glass recently, like maybe in the last decade. Before that, we all had steel glasses.
It's not that. It's a question that does everybody use the same stuff? Forget what they are. Leave the steel and glass argument for later also. I'm saying just do they, like your family member, does the Maharaj go and take the glass? That won't happen in India. That doesn't really happen.
Yeah. And I think it's like, I was talking to a friend of mine about this who works on a lot of like rural, she's a journalist, so she works on a lot of stories.
How come all your friends are girls? What's going on, Aakash?
Hai na?
Every time you call and you say, I'm going somewhere with this friend of mine.
I have a bone to pick with you with regards to Alibag. We shall take it offline.
You called for some details. Bro, I'm in the middle of this film shoot, yaar, Baba.
I messaged you a month ago.
But I was under a lot of pressure. I can't remember what the issue was. But there must be a reason why I forgot. But also that is Aisha, my wife's, you have to talk to her. And
this is the problem with you and Saurabh Pant both. I think I need to stop communicating with you all completely and just talk to your wives.
Is it hair loss?
No, just talk to the wives because it'll be easier to communicate. Because neither of you know anything.
Is he also dominated by his wife?
No, he's just as not knowing things as you.
Does she wear the punts in the family? No, but Alibag is completely Aisha. You ask anyone who knows me at all. I don't even know how to get there. I have to ask people for help. But you wanted to stay on a property or you wanted to stay in a house or where do you want to stay? Because there are a lot of these.
Now I've booked a place.
There are lots of these places available now, but I don't know about COVID, whether it's all on.
Now I've booked an Airbnb. I'm going with some friends. So we just booked an apartment. No, yaar. Males.
Yeah,
males?
Cyrus?
What will 5 males do together in Alibag?
Not 5 males, it's 3 males.
What will 3 males do in Alibag all alone?
What do males do when they are all alone?
But in a little quantity of time, it's okay because you just abuse, bitch, moan and then fuck off. Now you're stuck together.
No, but 2 days. No, that's it. So we'll drive to Alibag. We'll go till...
But why wouldn't you ask some girls to come with you? At your age, why aren't you interested in girls? What's going on?
You just said all my friends are girls. How can you play both sides? It becomes difficult when my parents then my parents are like, oh, you are going with girls. Who are these girls? What are your plans?
What are your intentions?
Yeah, what are your intentions?
I'm a comedic writer. I'm going to do a script writing session. Yeah. All right, forget the labels. What's the next story?
Next one is also, Cyrus, just quickly. How do you navigate? Do you use Google Maps?
Yeah.
Who are you talking to?
Or how do you
To go to Alibag.
No, to any place. Like supposing you have to go to like from some place.
No, but his
downside to
generation,
something.
Silverie, your generation will use the bloody thing to go to the chemist shop now. So let's just face it. It's become like that. But I think old school, all of us generally try not to. I mean, I don't even bother.
I've witnessed that transition almost. Like, cause I started touring and traveling a lot for shows in the early 2010s when Google Maps was there but barely usable.
Not really usable, yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen it kind of become this tool which has gotten so good. Like that now I know for a fact that wherever I go in the country and the world, I know that thing is reliable.
Yeah.
Correct.
I just like to listen to the English audio with the Indian names, but not about getting there. I just love it when they say, turn left at Marishika Way Road. And then just want to take a round just to hear it again. Or turn left at Marishika Way Road.
Cyrus, your mic is
put your mic up a bit, yeah.
Oh, I did that deliberately to create that ambience. This is a professional at his best. This is all done. Jaan Bujh ke, as we say in the Hindi film community. I can't tell you, nothing like working in a film. You get your own trailer, you get your own spot guy.
You got your own trailer?
Yeah, so they come with, you know how cheap I am? There are about 10 actors on the set. I'm the only one, all the chips, the juices, the water bottles. Mind you, 200 ml का जो छोटा bottle है, that's only. All those are packed inside my little, by the way, I come with a plastic bag. I'm like a Gujarati tourist. Amit, you'll be proud, huh? Plastic bag. Bobby Deol and all have these sports kit and all that. And I've got this plastic bag. And then they put everything in and I take it home. And so my fridge is completely gone every day. So I'm making the production pay for this casting of a Cheeto. I don't know why. Is it a middle class thing? I get so happy taking home goodies. Like chips and juice and all. Always, all my life from MTV also. I used to happily take home stuff. Half a pizza, I take it back home. I don't know. I think my dad has given me this in his DNA, you know. He used to bring from the flights. I know you guys don't remember this. In the 80s, those flights used to have one toffee. One toffee. I can't tell you what a cheap society we were. My dad would come back from Delhi with this one toffee in his top pocket. Rocha! And he'd give me the small toffee. I'd be so happy.
It wasn't just toffee though. You had the option to get soft if you remember.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, it was toffee or soft. One of the two.
Yeah. Jet Airways का वो इमली का आता था. प्लास्टिक में 2 इमली का गोला ऐसा वो प्लास्टिक में टाई करके.
So then why are we talking bad about budget airlines and all? Back in the day, this was like gold. And I'm sure a lot of fathers brought that home to their children and they dangle a little toffee or soft in front of their little kid's face. And Bunty would be so happy.
My mom, I think, had a business trip. She had to go and consult for a company. And she took Emirates business class to and fro. And it was best because we got like जाने का flight का, connecting flight का, आने का 2 flight का, सबका toiletry kit. So the entire family had matching toiletry kits from Emirates for a while. Yeah, it was great.
This is what I love about us Indians. Even the richest Indian will take that toiletry kit home. Nobody leaves it lying
obviously
there.
You'll take it home. No, it's to be taken. No, like
but when you're worth 5,000 crores, honestly, why would you take that home? I mean really, it's
please
so
stop speaking for Amit, Cyrus.
Amit बोल. Good की बात है.
I tell you, not me, dude.
No, Amit Shah.
Yeah, I think that's what I thought.
That's the opposite of
Aakash and Brocha are not involved in this production.
Not at all.
We are animal lovers.
Somebody sent me an interview that Mehbooba Mufti's daughter gave to Ravish Kumar, and in the middle of she's going on a rant. Okay, she's just ranting to Ravish. Like, आपको तो पता है, हमका कोई सुनता ये वो, and then suddenly randomly she just go, और ये बताओ, ये जयशा को क्रिकेट से क्या लेना देना है?
My God, that's into the ground, into the balcony for 6.
I was just losing my shit.
Although there is a school of thought is there. Wealthy body like cricket always for the last 25 years attracts the politicians. And don't just look at the center BCCI, look at MCA, look at Bengal Cricket Association, look at everywhere. Why? Most of them have got nothing to do with cricket, but suddenly they'll land up there.
Yeah, of course.
It's where the money is, dude. It's where the money is. It's where the popularity is. It's where, the
glamour is also.
Yeah.
But the universe now, it has a way to balance things out. This year during the IPL, there was a moment where he was trying to have coffee. Okay. And as he was trying to have coffee, the lid fell off the coffee.
Oh no.
And it fell.
And it spilled, and I think it burnt his lips. And I felt like, and it all happened on live TV. And I was like, the universe has justice. Like, I can't save cricket, but at least the universe gave me this.
And now coffee is banned in UAE and India. What the hell, yaar? See?
No,
Be careful.
speaking of this banning culture, and this might sound a little dark, but I was just going through suicide statistics recently.
Oh, God.
And it
Yeah,
turns out that half of the people who kill themselves are doing it with rope. They're hanging themselves.
Okay.
And it makes me wonder why rope hasn't been banned.
Made illegal, yeah.
Right? Or at least, you should ban YouTube videos where they teach you how to tie the noose,
No, but you got a great point, because if you ban the gun, because it's a weapon of destruction, then the rope is a proven weapon of destruction. In this case,
but then I realized that they banned the internet instead.
They probably would.
Yeah. So I think it's okay.
When they banned the internet for a little while in China, suicides continued, rope and no rope. So maybe we're all wrong. Maybe this trend makes no sense.
Maybe it is ex-girlfriends only.
Yeah. And I think we would be careful, because our podcast should not push people to any ultimate steps. Ours is just a silly podcast. Listener, if you're listening, ours is just nonsense. And please don't take us seriously. And most of our points are irreverent and make no sense. And only Amit has some wisdom. And most of it is gone with his hair. So we're down to this.
I thought it came with the hair loss.
No, but in Samson's case, if you study the Old Testament, I think it's the Old Testament.
That's strength, not wisdom.
That's strength.
But strength and wisdom were connected together for him, because he didn't know where the pillar was till his hair grew back. And that's what he had to break to bring the temple down and kill everybody and himself and whatever.
You know the myth better than I do.
I love action stories.
There is a Regina Spektor song called Samson.
Really?
Does the original have Wonder Bread as well? Or is it
I don't know, but I have a fridge called Samsung. Maybe they spelled that wrong.
I have a suitcase called Samsung.
Okay, that's Dumb and Dumber. That's the best part of the whole film. They're searching for the person. The name of the person is Samsonite, and they go into the telephone book. I love that. That's so beautiful.
Ajay Samson?
Sanju Samson should play for India soon.
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, well, we'll discuss that on Lanso.
Okay.
This water on the moon story, by the way, is the next. Are we doing that next? Because I have some grievances regarding the coverage of this story.
Yeah.
Go on.
You have been kind enough to send us 4 links. The first being from news, and then there's a number after it. You can guess what number it is. The second being from
69.
Yep. NDTV, Scroll, and NASA. Okay. And you read the 4 different descriptions of, I read all 4, and it's just so starkly different. And you know that first website does not have even a science journalism intern. Because the article is only called, "The moon has more water than previously known." And you may be wondering, can we actually live there? That's not an article. That's a horrible name.
Yeah, that's just clickbait, That's for the clickbait.
So फिर तेरे में और BuzzFeed में क्या फर्क?
I'm petrified. We land up on the moon and suddenly we see signs like Hiranandani and Raheja already there. I'm telling you, the people are quietly going there and doing things. Businesses started, nobody knows. Aakash, what happened?
No.
Aakash got a warning from the match referee.
Small distraction.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I hadn't actually read the moon stories, so I was just looking at those two.
Yeah, so basically just what happened was the NASA recently discovered that there is water on the moon, and they were able to do this by somehow the sunlight reflection on the surface of the moon is what made them understand this.
So they have the finger of Neil Armstrong, which has been cut off and it's still wet because he had actually touched one small talab there and discovered water.
The deeper craters seem to have water, which is a good idea, which is a great discovery for us, because the whole idea of the moon's development in the coming 50 years or so with regards to space development is that the moon becomes your refueling base. Planets like Earth, which have a lot of gravitational pull going about them, most of your fuel is spent just getting off the planet. So if you can build a refueling station at the moon, then you get off the planet, you refuel फटाफट एकदम मस्ती से moon में, और moon से निकलने में
you
ज़्यादा
advertise
gravity
for
नहीं है.
one-way travel. You just mentioned suicides and ropes. I'm just thinking maybe this is a creative way to, guys, you can go, but we're not sure we're coming back. So who's interested? There'll be a few.
But
put their hands up.
That's sort of the plan, right? Like with what all of these guys are doing, with what Elon Musk is doing. People seem to talk about Jeff Bezos a lot in this conversation, but as a friend of mine recently pointed out, they are very, very behind anybody else. Same with Boeing. Anyway, the point is that if you can set up a base on the moon, then that helps out in a lot of things, right? So the first thing is that you have the refueling base wala situation. The second thing is you can build more permanent structures where people can actually operate off of there instead of just from space. And that gives you a little more protection than when you're just floating in orbit on Earth.
I have a question though. Will we have racism on the moon as it becomes like our second world? What will we take there?
Have you seen The Expanse?
Is that what it's about?
Yeah, kind of.
So good to know that our virtues will stay.
Yeah.
With the new water.
It's about the evolution of the humanity as they move into different
dimensions,
parts of the solar system. Yeah. And as they move into different parts of the solar system, their physiology starts changing over generations. And that leads to significant racism in different ways. So it's kind of parabolic to, we're all from Africa, right?
It's like the Eddie Murphy joke, right? You know the Eddie Murphy joke?
Ice cream.
Where he dies and goes.
Ice cream.
I probably do, but I don't remember what you're talking. I don't have context.
Eddie says he died and went to heaven, and God speaks to him, and he asks God, like, is there any racism here? And God says, no racism. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Go for your first day. Look around. You go down. There's a bus waiting for you. And he goes down. He sees everybody's green. They're all green. He says, wow, no racism. We're all green. There's just one color. It's superb. He gets on the bus and the conductor says, dark green at the back, light green in front. That's the key. Nothing will change. Good to know. All right, Silverie, it's almost 1 hour. What should we do?
We should move to AMAs, yes.
Let's go to the AMAs?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I want to let you all know about 2 new shows that we've launched this week. The first one is Millennial Athlete, hosted by Tanvi and Shlok. Both of them are, they spent their life playing badminton, and they know a lot of athletes, and they want to talk about the particular challenges that athletes face. Really, really great conversations. Do definitely check that out. The other show that I wanted to mention to you that we launched this week is Naan Curry. Naan Curry is a show it's about food and the history of food and the economics around food and its consumption and all that kind of stuff. It's a really, really interesting conversation. It's hosted by Sadaf, the North chef and former MasterChef India finalist, and Archit, who is a researcher who writes on behavioral science and economics. Definitely worth checking out. Besides that, we had a great week as always, right? Great stuff on all the normal shows. Do check those out. But with that, let me get you back to your show.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me.
By the way, this was also damn hilarious. This rapper getting arrested for boasting about tax evasion.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Unemployment fraud. That was hilarious. कि कोई तो सुन रहा है. Like तुम्हारा गंदा hip hop.
That's one way of looking at it. And the second way of looking at it, he's now made himself a name. So he's going to pay for this, but now he's a name. Because in America, you need one incident and then you're a celebrity. You can get a dance with the stars and what have you, whatever those shows are. So I think it's a great piece of marketing. I respect this guy, whatever his name is, already. I'll never hear him, of course, on mute, but I'll watch his performances on Dancing with Stars. Yes, Mr. Silverie.
All right, let's get to the AMAs. The first one is sent in by Abhyuday T. That's the name. Hello, Cyrus, Amit, Silverie, and guest. Your podcast is my favorite to listen to while washing dishes at home at 1 a.m. Washing dishes at 1 a.m. I saw you live at a debate at the Kolkata Club in February 2018.
Wow.
Super funny.
What were you doing there?
My question
Aakash,
to you
was at the Kolkata Club or me? I must have been there. Yeah, correct.
No, you. Yeah.
But how do you know? They would know that I'm the guest, no?
That's a very good point. You think on your feet, young man. Very good. Then?
My question to you is, what is your take on the Parsis of Kolkata and how are they different from those in Delhi and Mumbai?
Oh, that's a racist question, not dark green, light green sort of answer for that. But it's a very tight club. I've done lots of stuff with the Parsi club there. So they managed to keep themselves quite vibrant. They've got a little bit of the Bengali side to them. All that is there. And yeah, they're great. They have nataks, they have shows, they have plays. It's a vibrant community. It's good. Because in most of the other cities, that kind of thing has died out. So it's good to know. But now I think I know everyone personally because not like there are that many of them. So there's no point going back. Before it was like you do a show, there are 150 people watching. Now each of them, you've eaten at their houses, you know their kids' names. It's all over. It's done.
Do you feel like the younger Parsis are as involved with the community in Bombay and in other cities as the older ones are?
No, I think it's the same with all communities. There are those who really do that. A lot of people land up doing that later on, when they're late 20s or 30s, they have this sort of who am I, man search for meaning moment, and suddenly they start looking at their own community and start looking and worrying and all that. But there are enough of those who have a sense of that, and there's plenty of those who just don't care. I don't know. The issue is not big enough for me. I want to save the whale, the tiger, and the straight dog. The Parsi also, but I have a list.
All right, let's get to the next one. This one comes in from Dhwani Shah. She asks, hi, Cyrus, Amit, Silverie, and guests. It seems like the last 4 to 5 years have made people very aggressive and more politically divided than ever before. Do you think that changes if Biden wins the US election or not really?
Not really at all. Amit, what do you think? I mean, people think it's like a magic pill just because Trump goes, everybody's going to behave better.
It's not just Trump,
Human
right?
beings are choots.
No, but it's not just Trump, right? I mean, there is a general tendency in the world itself, as you look at it, to move a little rightish, right? I mean, that's just happened all across the world.
Not to move, has moved.
Yeah.
Has moved.
No, it has. Yeah, exactly. So the world has moved a little rightish. I mean, there's no getting around that. And so, I mean, I also kind of disagree with the question in its own way, right? I mean, I don't think the world is worse now than it was 5 years ago. I really don't, right? I mean, it is...
I mean, before you get into that point, which you said before, I totally accept that. If you look at the war ratio, the economic ratio, all that, and in perspective. But what he's talking about, personally, are we more aggressive? When you're driving, talking, look at it at a micro and not macro level.
No, but even if you look at it at a micro level, I don't think that is necessarily the case, right? I think that, we are who we are. We're people. People are people. I don't think that, the tools that we interact with the world may have changed, but the people that we are and the way that we do that, I don't think that has changed so significantly.
Okay. Up to this COVID, nobody in my building or lane really meant or talked anymore. Well, growing up in the 80s and 90s, we were all close and we did all that. Okay, while driving the car, I abused so much. My dad rarely abused, only if somebody tried to shoo a dog or something like that.
Right.
Growing up, okay. I'm just saying, I definitely think there's a lot more fake aggro, if you want to call it that. This macho aggro that's going out there.
I don't know, man. I mean, I remember fighting plenty in the 80s with people in cars.
They're not just about aggression. They also talk about being politically divided, which I would agree. People are more politically divided.
Good God, no. I mean, political divisions right now, are actually non-existent. It's just that we're on the wrong side of the non-existence.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
but what he's saying is people take a stand now and get into fights and arguments, even if they care or don't care.
Social media, man. It's social media. We see this stuff on social media, and that lets us.
But again, growing up with our parents' generation, in the us three, I'll put Aakash in, even though he's a little young. We didn't hear so much of that. There was not so much sound. There would be little discussions. It seems to be more vibrant, if you want to use that word. Rather than aggressive.
Okay, but I think that also has to do with the stuff. When we're exposed to as much media as we are, and we talk about these things as much as we do, we have arguments that we agree or we disagree with much more this, right? So that leads to more discussion. But that doesn't mean that, I don't think that means that people were less politically divided earlier, right? I think that there's always been this sense that... So India is actually not a very politically divided country. If you look at the history of India,
our politics are the same. Everybody wants to do the same things. It's packaging that changes.
And even that, not so much, right? If you look at it...
I'm talking about the point of civility. Is the civility there? Not
but
the debate
civility
itself.
Earlier was put on. Now, with the internet, it's easier. You think those people were civil all the time? I don't think they were. I think they were only civil when the cameras were rolling, and the cameras were very expensive to keep rolling all the time. That's why you see the nasty side of people now. We were just having this discussion on our cricket podcast ki cricketers are so much safer in their answers now. Why? Because pehle na you could get away with saying stuff. We will make them growl. You remember that line? And it was met. And when it was met, the challenge was met, you would talk about the achievement, not about the original line. Now, that line will haunt you for the rest of your life on social media.
But if you go back to that line, Tony Gregg was trying to sledge them and get under their skin, and that's what he did. Unfortunately, it backfired.
Now I'm
not saying it's the right thing to do.
No, but now you're not allowed to. Now every bowler gives the same answer, right?
Yeah.
We followed the plan, we did this, we did that. So my point is like if you look at this back in history, 2008 is after 2008 countries started becoming more jingoistic, more nationalist, because globalization led to a really big dhoka in terms of that global collapse. And after that collapse, people have started moving right. Every country that started moving right has started doing so after 2008 only. Uske pehle sab ekdam liberal ke taraf hi ja rahe the, if you remember. So I think one is the economic insecurity that has caused people to be a little more.
Okay, now I'm getting angry because his answer is not ending, and that would never have happened in the 1980s and 90s. I would have been calm. For some reason, my blood is boiling. That poor guy wrote in expecting a funny answer. Has now got the biggest lecture of his life. He's torn his email. He's broken his computer, and he will never listen to our show again. All thanks to you. Okay.
She.
And she.
So much aggro. Was it she? Now for sure. Gender mistakes, we are gone. We've lost her forever. We apologize. Okay, last one quickly.
Last one, yeah. This one comes in from Rishabh Jain. He asked, hello Cyrus and the Cock and Bull team. Here's a fun question. After more than 7 months of lockdown and paranoia, for the last 1 month, my wife and I have been ordering food from outside with a vengeance.
Lovely.
What's your favorite delivery places that you'd like to recommend to your listeners?
What city is this?
Just before we start on this, Amit had sent me this thing about Burger King posting, basically saying it's you should support these franchises and businesses that are trying to survive during this time. So order from everywhere. Order from Subway, order from McDonald's, order from a cool message that Burger King is putting out there.
Hello?
I think we lost Antariksh. Okay, so we can answer the question. Antariksh has put the question up, and hopefully he can join us back by the time we do. But Cyrus,
I think he's just using this decoy to order quietly because he got hungry when he saw the question. So slyly he's online at the moment. Amit, what are your? Do you have favorites or do you like to experiment? That sounds sexual.
I do experiment, but I do have some favorites, right? So one of my favorites is Kolaba Social. Because I used to love Car Social because it was right across the office, and
you're a big social fan.
Yeah, so that is one of my favorites. The other one that I really like, so I like to eat burji for lunch, anda burji, and New Heroes restaurant at Grant Road.
Oh,
they do an excellent. Yeah, right next to your house.
Yes, great anda burji.
Great anda burji. Like really good anda burji.
Bro, I walk by there a lot and I wouldn't order from there, man.
I've never seen this. I've never seen the restaurant ever in my life.
That's the thing. A lot of places I order from, I don't want to see.
I don't want to see it either, right? Because now the thing is that I know the area, right? I mean, like I've lived in this part of the city for a long time. I know the area, and I'm like, I really don't think I want to go and see what this restaurant looks like.
Hey, come on, guys.
Because I can imagine.
It may be a little ugly and dirty and all that, but it doesn't mean the food is bad. Come on,
the food is great.
Yeah. But COVID ke time pe that paranoia sets in then. Like I love this pizza place in Warsaw called Rodeo Pizza. It's in Andheri East and West. It is my favorite pizza place in Mumbai right now. And I went there to order once, and then it became my second favorite, when I physically went there. Because
it does. Restaurants do that to you sometimes, right? You'll see one and you'll be like, hey. Okay, so there's one very popular Chinese restaurant in South Bombay. Used to be me and my friends in school. It was our favorite place to go. I don't want to name the restaurant because it's unfair to do that, right? But once, I think this was 98 or 99, we went into the kitchen. I could not eat there
now
for
you
the next 5
please say the name because I said the name of the last place. So now I'm
not going to say the name of the place.
Okay,
but
then I retract the name from the last
the
place.
name? Okay.
Please beep it out.
But no, I know the people who own the restaurants. I really don't want to kind of give them shit, right? But I mean, like I saw the kitchen, I couldn't eat there anymore. Right? Like for 5 years, I was out. I was out.
Yeah.
I have no problem with dirty kitchens and dirty plates and utensils. All these things, I get turned off by very expensive prices. If I see that you're charging me 850 rupees for a small mutton biryani, won't name the place, but it's in valid estate, then I get angry. Because I just feel that, that's just 4 times the rate it should be in that ambience and all that. So that upsets me and turns me off.
Yeah,
also, very short waiters. If the waiter's like really short, then I lose my appetite. So
the place you're talking about doesn't even have like a real kitchen, right? I mean, like it's like there's like a half wall which you can kind of walk in through, and then there's the kitchen right there.
Yes. But again, that's not the issue for me. The issue is it's just overpriced. I mean,
so for that price, you place with that infrastructure, it's not air conditioned. You have to sit on plastic chairs.
All that.
Yeah, you cannot spend that kind of money for a place with that kind of infrastructure.
Now, I get a better biryani at Delhi Darbar, which is my, rather Jafar Bhai's, which is our favorite. And it's a one third the price.
Passed away, by the way. I don't know if
you
know this.
Jafar he passed away about 3 weeks ago. Yeah. Let's give him a shout out. What a great man. What a great biryani. Man. And what a lovely human being. I mean, he fed so many poor people and he was very charitable and generous. So, but what to do? God always takes away the good ones. Hum log to bach gaya abhi. Dekh.
Sean Connery and Jafar Bhai.
I prefer Jafar Bhai. Still can't understand. Shaken, not stirred. That must be a tough one, na? Shaken, not stirred. Shaken, not stirred. Let's all try it. As a tribute to Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
बचपन में मुझे genuinely लगता था वो गुटखा खाता है.
Could have been a great brand ambassador. We lost some in that one. Good point, Aakash.
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan ने कर दिया ना उसकी जगह पे गुटखे का.
Without knowing the brand. Typical Brit. Okay, no problem. All right. I think that's it for the day. It's been a wonderfully boring session. I've had a great time. We'll come back with lots more. We're fighting the pandemic and I'm stuck in strange places of Bombay, but we will come back with Cock and Bull next week. Akash, will you be back or you're off with your girlfriends to Alibag for script session?
You are doing the air quotes at the wrong places.
Oh.
Why would you do air quote at Alibag? Alibag has been established now. It is not a...
Okay, so what should be the location for the bad moment?
Great being on, Cyrus. I will see you next month.
Remember, if you do too much, what does the great Gujarati poet say? Kapi nakse.
Oh.
That's what we do with animals to stop the breeding. You know that.
That's true. I like to consider myself a Sanjay Gandhi to cats.
No, don't say that. Only because you don't want people to kill them.
I've raised money, considerable amount of money to neuter several cats. Almost 100 cats I must have paid to neuter so far.
Okay, Silverie, don't go for the obvious joke as what have you got against, Don't go for that. Just let it go now. We have a standard here. All right. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
How many times have you motivated yourself to improve your sleep, or lose weight, or be more productive? How many times have you failed? Hi, my name is Ashton Doctor. Tune into my show, The Habit Coach Podcast, where we focus on creating small, tiny habits to improve your life instead of those big, impossible tasks. So make listening to me a habit every Monday, Wednesday and Friday on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com or on your favorite podcasting app.
Have you ever wondered how successful people do their thing? How do they navigate the challenges they often face? Are you wondering about the future of restaurants, film, education, technology, and everything else in between? Hi, I'm Gauri Devidayal, best known for being one of the brains behind The Table, an award-winning restaurant in Bombay. One thing my life as a restaurateur has given me is the opportunity to meet with some truly inspiring people, most often just by chatting with strangers at the community table. And that's what this podcast is about. It's about learning the new dimensions of business and understanding how different people swim this sea. It's an opportunity for me to pick their brains and ask them all the questions on my mind, whether it's about learning from their past experiences or talking about future trends. Through their journeys, stories, and insights, I hope you too, like me, will come away inspired and energized. So come, join me every Wednesday with your favorite drink because this round is on me.